Hey friends, Justin here for a review of And Just Like That episode 7, Sex and the Widow. I've got you guys here in my little office slash computer lab, so we're in a different setting this week, but I hope you have your water, your wine, and a snack, because we're going to jump right in. So the episode opens kind of in a whimsical way. Carrie is back at her laptop. She's in the window of her brownstone and she's writing. And, both literally and figuratively, the seasons are changing. What used to be an exciting place for her to embrace the world has kind of become a melancholy place. And there's good and there's bad with growing up and having wisdom and having life experience. So it was an interesting opening to the episode. She's just wrapped a book. So she's writing about love and relationships, but the book itself has kind of got a dour tone. So the editor says, I loved it. It's fabulous. I cried. But I have one note. Let's take it up a little bit. Let's leave people with some sense of hope, some sense of redemption. And, the mention of Oprah being on board, it changes Carrie's perspective. And she says, maybe so. Maybe I'll get on board and make this a bestseller. Anytime input comes from the outside in, as soon as the editor said, Oprah's book club and everything, I knew that idea was going to go downhill. But she agrees. I'm going to add a glimmer of hope. I'm going to go out on a potential date just to add a footnote to the novel and see how that works. It was kind of cute. I guess Nicole Ari Parker and Charlotte are tennis partners. That's nice. They're getting to know each other and being real friends to one another. But they're really competitive against those older ladies. I don't know why they were so excited to beat people that appeared to be 15, maybe 20 years older than them, but they're uber competitive, and it was adorable. Miranda runs into the professor at the farmer's market. Steve is just, I guess they're painting Steve in a negative light, and I don't like it. They're painting him as this bumbling character that gets in the way, that, doesn't really have any place or purpose in Miranda's life. And I don't know. I just like with Stanford, I don't like the way that they're painting, some of these characters. Steve has stood by Miranda, for years and years and years. And they've kind of reduced his character, at least in this episode, to kind of an annoying add-on. And I didn't like it. But she meets the professor. The professor confides in Miranda, stupidly, that she's had her period, and so their latest try at getting pregnant, just hasn't worked. And she's, afraid to tell Rashad, her partner. Now, in the last episode, we talked about how important it was to be able to communicate with your partner. But I get her, when you see the excitement in someone's eyes, even if they tell you, keep me in the loop, I want to be on your team. It is so hard to let people down. You feel like you've let yourself down. Obviously I can't relate to IVF and fertility issues, but, wanting to be everything to everyone, is something that we can all probably relate to. Carrie's date, they start talking about it, and the prospect of her dating after Big's death, it actually becomes a real thing. Seema has put her on these dating apps, and everybody crowds around to see the different potential men, and they're scrolling through. I thought Carrie was just too picky. The one guy, she says, I date the dog. And I understand it. It's insecurity and kind of wanting to push that part of your life away, and maybe not wanting to admit to yourself that you're open to it. But she didn't need too much prodding, if you guys will notice, to get back out there and accept the date. But she does say absolutely no sex on, under no circumstance, and she says indefinitely. So that's interesting. She backtracked a little bit and said, I don't know how comfortable I am with saying I'll never have sex again, but it's just not on my mind. I'll share with you guys. I've been married and divorced in my 20s for a few years, and you're not in a hurry. I can only imagine, losing a partner to death, but you're not in a hurry to go back through those emotions again. Dating and marriage is so taxing that you think, I don't know if it's been years and years since I was last married, and I still think to myself, I don't know if I have it in me, that energy. So Shay has not responded to Miranda's text. We find out a little bit later, it's been 3 months. I don't like that, As busy as Shay is, and she, went on later to say she has so much volume, why didn't you check on Miranda? Someone you've been so intimate with. Now, I'm old school. Once we get to that point, we're dating. We're an item, in my mind. And for her not even to, check back in on her and see how she was doing after that experience, it's not for me, and it's not that guessing game and wondering if, how the person feels. I just don't like it. But Shay has not responded to Miranda's text, and that's unfortunate. Staying on Miranda, she texts the professor at the wrong time when she was in the car with her husband. They're driving down the street, and a voice text, comes through her phone. All this technology will come back to bite you, won't it, guys? And it says, I'm sorry you weren't able to get pregnant this time, etc., etc., etc. And, both the professor and her husband are disappointed in that moment. He's disappointed, surely because this is another situation where it didn't work out, but also because of the failed communication. He's made it clear to her that I am on your team. This is me, and I'm here for you. Talk to me, and, don't hide things from me. Don't let things build up inside of you that you're, uncomfortable about. She made a statement, I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before last, that when one round of IVF didn't work, that she was relieved. I don't know if there's, and forgive me, guys, because I'm not a woman. I'm not, I haven't gone through anything like this. I don't know if there's more to the story about her not getting pregnant than just them actually really, really trying. Maybe she doesn't want to have children. What do you guys think? Educate me on this. From your perspective watching her, does it seem like she genuinely wants to have kids? When she almost runs into that family that has a toddler, it gave us a perspective on what parenting and the kind of person that, parenting can make you into. And so, they were allowed to see kind of the after of where that journey may go. And I don't think either one of them want to be that person. This is an interesting byline or storyline. Having children is not for everyone. Let's see. Tennis, okay, so Harry decides he wants to play couples tennis with Charlotte and Nicole Ari Parker. And, it's a cute idea, to get the couples together, to meet, and et cetera, et cetera. Tennis brings out the worst in both Charlotte and Harry. Harry is too insistent on, getting an apology from Charlotte. And Charlotte is point blank refusing to offer simple kindness to Harry. Now I completely understood what she was saying. I spend my life, I spend my days apologizing to people for my misunderstandings, for who I am, for being a white woman in society, for taking up space. With you and in this environment with my friend, I don't want to apologize. I get it. But is it worth, sometimes that little bit of sacrifice is worth the heartache and the tension that builds up between a couple. That's also a very interesting perspective and storyline. I get that, especially Charlotte, the way she navigates in the world. She's always anxious and she's always apologizing for taking up space. Should she apologize to her husband? And why is it such a big deal for them to show small kindnesses to one another? I thought that was interesting. Miranda and Steve, they give it a go. They try to, or Miranda tries to light the candle and rekindle the flame, but half-heartedly, and unfortunately there are no fireworks. I mean, I can't say that she really gave it a full shot, but because it was not Che, it was not that explosive experience, she was over it. And, they kind of went back to their comfortable routine. Let's make dessert. Let me, finish doing the dishes. And that was disappointing to me. I do think that they need couples counseling. If not to stay together, but to talk through what's going on, that so that Steve can be in the loop and that it can be a safe environment for Miranda to finally tell him what's going on, because it's not his fault that she was not aroused in that situation. He came around to it and he tried, and I'm disappointed in the light that they're painting Steve. Carrie goes on her date. The guy's handsome. He looks well-to-do. They are suited for each other. This is this man's first date after his wife suffered ovarian cancer and passed away. It's Carrie's first date after Big's heart attack. And they get drunk. As you need to do. She doesn't have the pressure of being around her friends that are going to judge and remember her actions. So they get wasted and laugh and have a blast. And it ends in puke. I think he threw up on her shoes. She retched and threw up in the street like they were kids. And that just blows it for Carrie, And it was unfortunate because watching it, I thought, they started off slow, but I think they had a good time with one another, being able to play off one another's experience. And I bet that's not the end of this guy. I think not, she sees him at the event and she hides, so their social circles are overlapping. She hides and tells Mario Cantone, make sure he's gone. I don't want to see the puke guy anymore, etc., etc. Shay comes to the event. Carrie has invited her as the comedic relief. And, that doesn't sit well with Miranda. So she goes outside, she sees Shay, socializing with some other folks, and they do have an encounter, towards the end of the episode. And Miranda says, you never responded to my text. What happened? And Shay says, well, I get so many DMs, I get so many texts that I just missed it. The weed that I'm smoking, the this, the that, the other. It was too much. And she says, I want to take you away right now. I want to get you naked and do that thing we did again. And, Miranda says, oh, really? she's just smitten and taken with Che. And one of my girlfriends texted me early this morning when she first watched the episode. She says, "I just love that Che. She's charismatic. She really is. I like her too. She's really, really funny. I personally just think she is. Is this a real thing? Too progressive? I don't want to. At 50 years old, at my age, even at my age, I don't want to DM you. If I don't have your phone number, we don't have anything really going on. I don't want to sit around and wait for your validation for you to DM me back. But they do get together, and it's realized that Shay technically didn't really write her off. But the lack of interest, the lack of attention that you've shown me, over the last 3 months, to me, that's a turnoff. So it's an interesting, I don't know the word, it's an interesting contrast between Steve, who is steadfast, he's always there, he's not exciting, and then Shay, who is inconsistent. She's concerned with being young and hip and all of these things. Where's the balance for someone like Miranda? So we will certainly see. At the end, it looks like, the experiment for Carrie to date and write a positive note for the book, it didn't go as planned. I think she could, end it on a positive note about self-love and coming around to appreciating who you are and yourself. But, that note about dating, it didn't pan out in this particular episode. But like I told you guys, I think we may come back to the guy. I didn't dislike him. What did you think? Anyways, guys, we come to the end of another review. I really enjoyed this episode. Wasn't my favorite of the bunch, but still interesting. And it's moving the storyline along. As always, guys, give this video a like if you will. Please leave your thoughts and your comments in the comments below. And consider subscribing if you're new for more movie and TV related content. And just like that, guys, it's the end of this review. I'll see you in a few days for the next episode.